The Lost Cryptids Conservatory, where we will shatter your reality to bring you closer to the truth.
All right, guys, welcome back to another live show. This is the Christmas special, of course, 2021. Merry Christmas to all and happy holidays to everyone else. Today we're going to enjoy the late evening of Christmas after all the kids have settled down and boredom's out all day and visiting family. It's always a wonderful day and a wonderful part of the year to celebrate and bring families together and bring friends together and share stories, of course. And so that's what we're going to do today, of course. Share a bunch of stories and thoughts on Bigfoot and other cryptids, of course, here in Michigan and the U.S. and the world beyond. So we got James, the Caller Kid, of course, co-hosting with me. Fellow Lost Cryptid member and an awesome person, and there's a reason why he's called the Caller Kid. And,
yes, there is.
Yeah, and you have performed your call that it seems to stir up not only activity with the animals, but seems to get some Bigfoot responses in different areas across the state. What do you think about that? That in all these different areas, it's kind of working out. How do you feel about that?
I guess I just sound like a Bigfoot. I don't know. I don't respond to that.
Sounds good, right? And yeah, and basically, all these places that we go across Michigan, we're actually finding evidence of Sasquatch or we have encounters and activity that actually happens. And the interesting thing is stuff that works in one place seems to work in another. And some of the places we go is, even high urban areas and high population densities. In fact, the highest population densities in Michigan, of course. But there is evidence of Bigfoot activities and actually having actual individual encounters in places you would think wouldn't be happening next to airports and in suburbs and right on the outskirts of development. What do you think about all that? Do you think there's, from your research and studies in Michigan so far, I mean, if a person said to you, Bigfoot in Michigan, I'd be maybe in the UP, but definitely not, where we have gone in Lower Michigan.
Were you saying if somebody said that to me, or
yeah, what would you say?
Sorry.
Yeah, from your research and stuff, what do you think of that idea? There's Sasquatch
I
in these
think
urban areas.
there's a higher
And
chance of finding one towards the northern part of Michigan, not just the UP, but just northern in general. But there are a lot of areas downstate that have the environment to have these creatures, and there's also been lots of proof that I have found, you have found, other people. So I'd say you're wrong, or they were wrong.
right, right. Yeah, no, Michigan's a pretty unique state with the Great Lakes, of course, the region, and and a lot of Michigan. When we talk about it, I like to split it into three parts, and that is Lower Michigan, where we all the way up to Northern Michigan, which would be the rifle line, is what we call it in hunting. So, shotguns and non-rifles below this line in Michigan, and then above it, as you go north, is the rifle line. Use big caliber rifles to hunt, and so that would be Northern Michigan, Lower Michigan, Northern Michigan, and then the UP is the third section, which is a huge wilderness spot. It's amazing actually, and when it butts up towards the west, towards Wisconsin, it's a huge swath of wilderness land that is pretty untamed actually, and pretty rugged for modern times. So, but those three sections of Michigan, how we split it up, and so we have Lower Michigan that has a lot of sightings actually, and a lot of stuff we have investigated and had encounters. Northern Michigan is the same thing, except for it has more wilderness spots, and you would expect more Bigfoot be able to thrive and develop. And then the UP is a huge wilderness spot. I mean, there's a lot of wolves and there's everything in there. And then they can reach all the way up to Canada, of course. So it's just very interesting because there's the population in Michigan seems to be a lot, or they're traversing the landscape very easily. And so certain individuals are sighting, across the state. If there's not a huge population, then it's the same individuals that are traversing the landscape being seen. So I think there's quite a few population because of all the sightings and in different circumstances that they're seen, and big ones, small ones, and young ones, and all that. So, but it's very interesting that the environment of Lower Michigan, how they're surviving and thriving and traveling through this environment is definitely a lot different than Northern Michigan and the UP. And so it's a lot harder here, right? It's the most hardest section to thrive and be by humans, next to developments and roads and cities and people's backyards. But there's a lot of farmland in Michigan. And so there's a lot of open space. So at nighttime, basically, when you look on the maps and stuff, you see all this farmland, you see houses, and some people think that it's a no-go for Sasquatches because it's out in the open. But in fact, at nighttime and stuff, there's no one out there on foot that's going out there. There's cars driving by, and then you can see them a mile away from wherever you're walking to, and you can easily hide, or if you so choose to, like some sightings happen that they cross in front of cars on purpose. Traversing the landscape very easily because no one's outside, and the farmers, once they're done with all the chores and work, usually, going to be inside, and most people are watching TV and in bed by 10 o'clock. So, so if you look at it like that, and you look at it like they really, really travel far and intensely investigate, come up to people's houses and look in their windows, which is seen and reported. I mean, how many Bigfoot are doing that activity that are never seen? I mean, we don't know. But we do know that there's quite a few sightings of them being seen watching through windows. Okay, so there must be even more activity of Bigfoot doing that are not seen in different houses. And so they pretty much investigate the area, investigate the house, especially if they're going to hang around it, observe the habits of people, and it might be possible through generations that they've discovered that where the private land is, where there's sanctuaries, where there's not as much hunting and there's not as much human development, or the people that buy and own property for the next 40 years, they get pretty set in a routine that they do on the property, and the Bigfoot adapt to it and are actually able to use and thrive on their property, knowing what humans do, and then traversing the land and finding better property to go to, and safe havens. And as they go up and go down in Ohio and Indiana, I mean, there's a huge amount of sightings in those two states, Wisconsin. I mean, and then if you look at Canada, all the way out, if you really want to go out to the New York, Ohio, and all the way that way, there's a huge amount of sightings. So this huge Great Lakes region area has always been a system and landscape that has provided a lot of plentiful resources for all types of animals and Native Americans and Sasquatch. So I definitely think they're really, really good at what they do, and they've evolved to be in the woods stealthily and to avoid and to observe humans and what we do in our activities. The same way as a dog and cats have evolved, micro-evolved to read our facial expressions and communicate with us by not understanding our language, but understanding our body language, our facial expressions, our tones, our mannerisms, pointing, and all sorts of stuff that, everyday animals that are every pets, can understand and communicate with you and, intelligently. So now you have a creature that is animalistic, that has human or primal human evolutionary thought, that is able to, and has for generations, read people's mannerisms and facial expressions and activities while in the woods or developing into modern age. They would get a pretty good sense of us and how to avoid us. And I mean, especially in modern times, humans are pretty lackadaisical in the woods at nighttime. Only hunters and people who are camping and hardcore woodsmen and bushcraft and people who are actually out there in the woods at nighttime doing stuff and traversing the landscape. Sasquatch researchers, they're the ones who are, out there. But everyday people are in bed, in the house, kicking their feet up, watching TV. And so it leaves a huge amount of space and basically unawareness on our side for Sasquatches to traverse the landscape and slip through people's houses in their backyards and, hoping to get maybe a dog bowl of food and cache of dog food, traversing and learning. And it would easily could be done here in Michigan, in fact. And when you ask most people, if you ask most people in lower Michigan if they thought a Bigfoot lived within 5 or 10 miles of them, they would probably laugh at you.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Bigfoot can, or do you think they're colorblind, or do you think they can see colors?
That's a good question.
You say
we really don't know, but
per se they're spying on someone watching TV. Do you think their mind just gets blown?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've observed TV, and it'd be interesting what kind of spectrum they're actually on. If they're are like humanistic, like ours, or if they're more animalistic, and they could have a variety of stuff. But I know from my own research and what we captured on film that they're definitely nocturnal, and so the IR light does reflect off their eyeballs and will shine back, and and it does show that they are actually highly developed nocturnal primates, which is there are a few out there. There, when you're talking about great apes and monkeys and primates, majority of us are daytime, animals, and while there are some primates that are nocturnal and highly developed, Sasquatches probably are, if they have evolved like that, which it seems to be, are probably highly developed, especially having the huge eyeballs, bigger diameter to reflect more light, and able probably to see more. And we know owls, through my research, have evolved the same way that great ape primates have nocturnally, and they have this basically the same evolutionary path, and very a lot of similarities. So you have a creature that probably has a very excellent nocturnal night vision, because owls amazingly do. So yeah, I think they would have incredible eyesight at night, and so their sightings, they might not have color. They might be some speculation is maybe they can see UV lights and more light spectrums, and we can see the IR lights, of course. And my research and stuff that we've collaborated with seems to that show that yes, they can see game camera IR lights, or at least in the 800 nanometer spectrum. But if you bump it up to 940 nanometers or around that range, it's a more higher beam of light, and they might even be able to see that. We do know that deer can see regular IR lights and stuff, and other animals can. So probably a highly nocturnal developed animal probably was going to see a lot of the technology that we're using besides flare or thermals. But, it gives them a unique evolutionary up on us because we are not nocturnal and they are. And so we, especially in modern society, usually, we do all our stuff during the day, and at nighttime, especially in modern, all this comfort in our nice warm beds, especially here in winter, we're going to be doing that. We're not going to be focused on looking outside our window and watching anything and guarding our dwellings and guarding our property for, Sasquatch or whatever, dangers, big cats and bears. So, they can traverse and stuff, and most humans are not going to be, who cares if a Bigfoot walked out there or they see some big tracks out there, most people probably want to automatically assume a Sasquatch, and unlike us when we're actually trying to get the evidence and know they're out there and doing this and leaving this stuff. So the average person is not expecting these Sasquatches to be doing all this and stuff. So they don't even, it's not even in the realm of possibility. Okay, so again, that's another up that they have on most people because they don't even expect them to only think they're real. So, or that they're able to do these superhuman abilities to go into some of these environments that are very close to people, that you would think that, how could a Bigfoot be there? But there's several factors that go into it. But they are definitely from what we call in camera on the UP. I mean, you can stand and be right there, and you don't even know. You don't hear it either. So yeah, we're just it's very interesting. Michigan's very unique and stuff, and there's other states, of course, that you could break down in the same way, where Ohio is again pretty highly developed and stuff, and has a lot of mines and does have some wilderness spots, of course. So again, each state is unique, and there's a lot of states that have these sightings. So you look at your state and you laugh and you say, well, I don't think there's Bigfoot here, there, or there. But in every state, it's like that. But the data shows that they're there. So So, yeah. So, I guess
we were gonna have another guest showing up actually.
yeah, I was just gonna say, let me.
No, I got Tyler to come join us.
Oh, let me go. You sent the link. Awesome.
Yeah, I did. I sent it to him. Also, sorry, I was turning my camera off during that.
No, it's
was
all right.
getting some leads to a Bigfoot thing.
Awesome.
A guy finally responded back, so had to reply.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I would just want to talk about a little bit about Michigan and stuff, and even other states. That a lot of people think, well, how could a Sasquatch be in some of these areas next to these highly developed spots? But gotta understand that we developed these areas on top of them. They were already there and already on their routes, and has seen a lot of destruction and ranging of the environment. Because Michigan has been chopped down. Most of the trees in Lower Michigan are, second and third growth. So a lot of course, the original growth that was here was all chopped down by lumberjacks. Okay, and regrown, of course. Now we actually have way more forest than we did 100 years ago. So Michigan is like 53% forested, and there's other states that are even more. It's kind of interesting, the percentage forested, and how much of miles of river systems we have, and the Great Lakes coastline. Michigan is a pretty unique environment, thanks to its splat dab in the middle of all these Great Lakes and stuff. So, you're never more than 4 miles from any lake or pond or stream or creek water resource. So, I mean, there's plentiful of water. It's ridiculous, and then it's a pretty wet state. It definitely provides a great habitat for a lot of animals, and we have about 1.7 million deer in our state that they estimate. So, plenty of deer, and we, it's very interesting. It's just the whole Great Lakes region, because when you expand out to the following states around us, the ecosystem is very healthy thanks to the Great Lakes. The biggest freshwater water system in the world, with all these Great Lakes being freshwater. So there's a lot of fish, a lot of ecosystems that depend on that and have a robust growth. And I know our state conservation people and the DNR and our wildlife, government agencies, have for a while done a pretty good job of trying to protect the land and actually set up of a lot of areas for animals and stuff. And we do have a huge national park system and state system here, the huge crapload of trail systems actually. And there's just a lot of robust, healthy ecosystem and areas in Michigan that you can find and support a lot of Sasquatch. So you get in some spots that is pretty crazy and rugged, and there's a high population of these things, and you can look, and there's a lot of missing people in Michigan too, and you can get into all that. And there's Michigan, if you go on the MUFON stuff, is a lot of UFOs. And then of course the Native Americans had even more cryptids that they talked about, and even the little people. And so the little people were spread, of course, through all the Great Lakes region, which is, you could call the Algonquin Native tribes, which is Algonquin is their language group. So they had individual tribes, but they all were related basically through the language, even though it was different and distinct, and their cultures were definitely distinct and had their own. They shared a lot of aspects, but they all talked about the little people and Pugwudgies and Paisas, and some similarities, some differences, and it's very interesting that in fact the stories of little people are spread out through all of North America, and it goes down to South America, then over in Europe, of course, and in almost every culture. You can go to tribes in Africa, and they talk about little people and little creatures and cryptids that have some magic powers and are able to do certain things that globally, as culturally different we are, seem to be very similar. So there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff that has happened in ancient times and in ancient histories, and there could be remnants of survival through modern times. There's sightings of dinosaurs. There's sightings of giant spiders. So some clips that are on the internet are of giant spiders that are very interesting. But
I saw one recently of a giant snake that Robert Kreider posted, but it looked a little fishy.
yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one or not.
The one that gets caught.
No, it was wrapped around a truck.
Oh no! This one, I seen a video where the snake sticks its head in. I think it's a trap. It sticks its head in a blue barrel. It looks like the trap gets it, and it coils up, and it's a massive snake, and it could be record sighting, of course. It's pretty massive. Anaconda, which is a water snake down in South America that goes in the river systems, which could be, I think, even more deadly than like a python, a land constrictor.
Yeah, exactly.
You go jumping into the water like we do, some of these swamp systems. If we had something like that here in Michigan, that'd be, and the natives do kind of talk about stuff like that. These bigger creatures here in Michigan that are not sighted anymore usually, but fleeting and far between compared to Bigfoot, let's just say. But yeah, it's a real animal, and really, who knows how really big they can get? Because again, that's another example that if that individual could get that big, well, there must be more that could get that big or even bigger, because it's still growing, still doing its thing and hunting and eating and devouring. And all right, what's up, Tyler?
What's up?
What's up? Another fellow Lost Cryptid member, of course, is an awesome guy and audio tech specialist, and it's very glad to have you on and stuff. I didn't send you a link or talk to you because the last time we said we had family and stuff, so I didn't know. I figured.
Yeah, it's midnight, so everyone's asleep.
Yes, yeah. The kids are sleeping, and everyone's had their Christmas fill, and I tell you what, I'd be sleeping too, but
well, no,
I had a lot
huge,
of
I took a huge nap.
What time were you up?
I had to get up at 7.
You had to get up?
Yeah, my brother
Oh.
worked this morning, so we all had to get up or be together early before he went to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Working on Christmas? That doesn't seem right.
He works at like a CVS or Walgreens, and I guess they're one of the stores that are always open because of medicine and stuff.
Because of that holiday pay.
I hope so. I hope he did.
Oh yeah. You're working on Christmas and holidays, yeah, for sure, as you should. You're missing out on important stuff, but gotta do what you gotta do, of course. So yeah. So I'm glad to have you on, Tyler. Just chatting about Bigfoot.
Talking about little people. Yep.
Talking about little people and
little people.
Yeah, Native American encounters of the little people here in Michigan, and of course throughout the Great Lake region, and far beyond to the West Coast and East Coast, and all the way up to the Arctic, all the way down to South America. Different tribes, different names, sometimes different stories of them being nice or bad, being beneficial or evil, and stealing kids and women and children and eating people. And
wait, eating people? They're little people.
Some they have magic. A lot of the tribes say they can like go invisible, or they're super fast, and they can do tricks on you. And again, if you look at the European lore of fairies and gnomes and elves stuff, it's a lot of it is very similar in some ways. It's very interesting, of course, but yeah, in one particular tribe, they said that the little people, if something was small to us, a very small object, it would be huge and massively and most, impossible for them to move. Let's say we had a big boulder in front of us that we could never lift. It would be small and easy for them to pick up and move like it was nothing. Very odd type of characteristic a native tribe gave to these little people to have. So there's odd things like that, and of course they have stories and stuff that we're going to get into in future videos I'm going to release, of course. But having ancient battles with little people, dwarfs, over in the Cheyenne and the Arapaho regions, they had ancient warfare where all the native tribes came together because they were cannibal dwarfs that believed that to go to heaven, and they'd have to be killed in battle and stuff. So very European-esque type of thought process, because of that warrior aspect. Very interesting stuff. Not Bigfoot related, but as real as the natives think that Bigfoot is real. So
I'm just gonna interrupt you real quick. I'm bringing that person that I was talking to the podcast. I'm sending him a link. And we're getting another viewer.
All right, we'll see how this goes. Okay.
Who?
The guy I remember. The one Gabe.
Oh, the one Gabe found.
Yeah.
Oh wow, well he's coming on.
Yes.
I send him an email and I get nothing, and then you get him on the show.
Yes. I guess Instagram
awesome.
is where it's at.
So to finish off on the little people, I guess they were depicted as being about 1 foot to about 3 feet tall, depending on the region, depending on, of course, the sightings of them. So 3 foot tall, the biggest, and about 1 foot tall, the smallest. So, of course, something that small could probably hide pretty easily, and they're said to live underground and live in the trees and forests, and like leprechauns and stuff. It's very interesting. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Of course, I don't know, it's just all interesting stuff that seems to happen in the same place. All this weird, encrypted, and paranormal stuff seems to happen. So
It's not stuff I've run into, but
I've seen a lot of UFOs, and I don't know. I'm just watching a lot of UFO things recently, and it's very interesting that how many sightings there are here in Michigan and in other states, of course, in the same areas as Bigfoot activity, and it just begs the question of what really is going on. Is it all related or not?
it's one of the bigger questions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. Of course, it's not until I've seen it with my own eyes, and then
Unless they
I'll
all
tell you.
live inside the earth together and we're just oblivious.
Maybe, but I have seen UFOs throughout my life, actually. And I actually have filmed one that is on the channel, of course. So
Yeah, I've seen one before, and I thought I did another time,
Yeah.
but I think it was just an airplane.
it could be military aircraft, it could be experimental stuff. It's an unidentified flying object, so there's a lot of things that could fit in the categories. It doesn't have to be extraterrestrial, right? So
Do you
it's
think
not like
aliens are connected to Bigfoot, or do you think Bigfoots are connected to aliens?
That is yet to be seen. I don't know.
It was just a question. So
Again, I mean, no, I
no,
don't
not
think-
me, from Rob.
I
So,
see him.
and just relaying it.
No, I mean, No, because it means if they're flying in spacecrafts, why are they out hanging with us and bugging us and scaring people, right? I mean, come on.
I think there might be a little bit of relatability, but I don't think all of them.
Well,
Just because there's been some weird encounters and like people's reports, so it's possible. Or because of orbs, maybe.
yeah, orbs. Well,
That's it.
people have seen orbs before in Bigfoot areas, so again, but you don't know if it's related. It could be separate phenomenon. Again, there's not enough research done on the orbs, and of course, Bigfoot
No.
happened at the same time, and documentation and actual work done. So, but I mean, it happens in the same area from what I've seen and experienced, and
That's one thing I haven't seen. I haven't seen the lights in the woods. That's one thing I keep my eye out all the time on.
I don't think I have either. Maybe once, but I'm not sure.
No.
We got a question from Jimbo asking if you all believe in the paranormal. I know me and Blake do. I'm not sure about you, Tyler.
I don't want. I mean,
You
I
don't
can't.
want to.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd
Good
rather
answer.
rather deal with the monkey in the woods than something I can't see or touch mess around with me in my own house.
What about like the before you're born and like also the afterlife? Do you believe that afterlife's the thing? Maybe.
I mean, I guess I want to believe that too. I mean, I want to believe when I die, I go somewhere else, or maybe I lurk around. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of making death a little easier is to believe that there's something afterwards. So, I mean, there's no proof of it, but I keep a positive mind about it.
Well, yeah, there's no proof because once you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah, but no one's
Can't
coming
really
back.
prove that.
Well, I mean,
yeah, you're right.
someone could write a message in sand for me like, hey, it's here. Don't worry. Because that's another thing.
That's
When you
true.
talk about ghosts,
Yeah, why don't they say if there's another side? Yeah.
You watch all these shows and they always ask them, like, is there an afterlife? And they never seem to make a comment about it. They just do whatever. So until it's in writing, I won't fully believe in it, but I like to hope.
Yeah, I mean the paranormal, to me is real and stuff, and I have faith in God and Jesus, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that can be relatable to that, and the Bible does talk about that He is a spirit, and the Native Americans, which some tribes actually are very parallel to Jewish and ancient aspects, and they call the Great Spirit is their creator. So this notion of this Almighty Great Spirit, good, the all that is good and love and all this, and of course, it points to a spiritual aspect, an afterworld, and afterlife, spirits. In the Bible, it does say, to test the spirits, to determine if they are of God or they are, something else, whether they are demonic or human that are just, whatever. So there's a lot of cultures that definitely believe in the spiritual life and afterlife and spiritual effects. I mean, you look in South America, you look all over Africa, you can look in almost every culture. They definitely talk about spiritual spirits and ghosts and stuff like that.
100%.
There's definitely a notion of the spirit or our spirits, our souls, stuff like that. And what happens when we go, ancient warrior cultures, going to Valhalla and having to die in battle. And, so it's a very ancient humanistic thought and idea that kind of spreads the whole world and stuff. So there must be some truth to it. And so many cultures believe in it in certain aspects. So.
I mean, I don't want to open up another can of worms, but the thing that gets me is you got all these areas of the world that have some type of belief in an afterlife. And when you look at the Native Americans, they were isolated for thousands of years from all the Europeans, and they had some type of belief in the afterlife. And I like the ancient astronaut theory and how aliens kind of, in a way, shaped humanity in different parts of the world to where, we all, because, we all have a religion. We all have a belief there's an afterlife, and it's one of those things that I kind of lean toward the most if I were to believe in anything about the afterlife. I guess it's a way to tame the cultures too. Religion tames cultures.
Yeah. So for me, I've always liked the ghost shows, like what's it called? Ghost Adventures. I always thought that show was awesome. But when was this? I don't know, like a few years ago, I was having like weird dreams out of nowhere. I mean, I kind of believed in ghosts and things, but like I had this weird dream where I was back in like the Pyramid Age, and I was in love with this one person, and I forgot their name, but it was like very similar to Zozo, which if you don't know who Zozo is, it's a demon from the Ouija board. And I've never used an Ouija board, so it was a little weird to have that dream like that. So that's why I'm never touching an Ouija board, because I have no idea what will come from it. And I was in that trance for like 17 hours as well. It was like one of those weird ass dreams that just continues and never ends. And I've had a few other weird occurrences too. I think I even saw one at one point, and it like freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's some weird stuff, man. I mean, some dreams can be very, realistic and vibrant and emotional.
Yeah.
And especially, I can think of some dreams of battling some demonic entities, and it's just like, you wake up from, or even regular just weird dreams, and you just. You wake up and you're just like, what in the heck was that? What's going on? Why was I thinking about this? And, dreams are pretty magical, and always has been. And it's amazing what our bodies can do and what our mind does. And so, again, our brain and our consciousness and stuff, is working, but our subconsciousness, the part of us that is working all the time and behind our backs, that is, in more ways controlled than we think, of course, is able to do these things and things that we can't compute yet. And of course, our brain power is not computable and is not replicable in many ways as of yet.
I just found another thing I wrote down. This is 2015. I wrote down that I encountered 2 spirits of the dead in a dream. It was really weird. And it was like a really like graphic one where they're like killing people. Yeah. One of them was like evil, and one of them like was nice. So that's the one problem about spirits, is you have no idea which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Right, and that's personally why I, as a kid, got really into all the cryptids, of course. I'm talking about Loch Ness and Bigfoot and UFOs and ghosts and stuff. I was like, wow, all this stuff is crazy. And then when you really look into it and research, especially with ghosts, you come to find out that in realistic aspect, you have no idea what you're experiencing. If something is telling you that it's a little kid, a woman, a man, you have no idea if that is legitimately a person, a spirit, whatever it is, or you could demonic entity, poltergeist, whatever you want to call it, that has a more evil nature. Again, you're messing with stuff that you just don't understand. It's invisible. and culturally and religiously upsets a lot of people, and it dives in and makes you ask deeper questions about yourself and reality and what is actually going on. So, and the same thing with other things, but that really, because you're talking about the afterlife and death and stuff, and it's really could be very detrimental and damaging because you don't know what you're dealing with, you don't know what's going to happen to you and what you're going to bring home, and it's a lot different than Sasquatching and stuff and other stuff.
Yeah,
so that's why I don't do it. I have to deal with it sometimes because stuff has happened to me, ghost stuff, and my girlfriend is a good example of something that follows her, it seems like, and acts up every once in a while.
I have that happen too.
So, and she got some stories that she, eventually is going to come on and say, and we got some proof of it. She got some pictures of different stuff. And it is very interesting because she has some kind of chilling stories of ghostly encounters. So, yeah, there's stuff that happens in the world that we just can't contemplate. And you know what? It's pretty much censored. It's kept from us, kept from the general public, because that there's damn well certain government and USA stuff that is understood. They understand what is fully going on. They've tested, replicated, scientifically studied, and it's kept from the public. So, there's a whole host of stuff probably going on that we don't know, or kept on the wraps that we have never even thought about or conceived of. So, you really want to go out there. So, because that, the basic stuff, you're, investigating Bigfoot, investigating ghosts, military and all that, they do that at some point, for threat, national security reasoning. How much of a threat is it to the U.S. and our people and the world? So you don't think that no one's investigated that? No one's got into that. We don't have nothing developed from that. No technology, nothing like that. There's a lot of stuff that's kept from public. We have a lot of stuff, developed. Our country is pretty badass. For America, freedom, this expression of epic proportion of a true free country, a free people to speak our minds and develop. And we're looking for Bigfoot, for freak's sakes. We have such freedom to do what we do in America, and at Christmas, and buy all the stuff that we buy and do all the things what we do, hunt and own all the guns and all this freedom that we have, we have the most baddest military on the planet. Our defense budget is, the next whatever countries combined. We don't, and plus some, because we don't even give a crap. Yeah, you don't think that our stuff, we've investigated everything and developed technologies from all that? I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's just so much stuff that is censored and we're just kept from us because we're little kids and babies. We can't handle it. We don't know, they treat us like toddlers instead of just, putting it in the environment and letting us evolve to adapt to whatever comes, to the problem, to this new equation in the environment, evolving the society and all that in the right direction and not destructive and secretive and secret societies and all this other bull crap. So if you really want to go out there. So, this whole notion is, do you think the government's doing anything about it? Well, of course. They've investigated all the stuff, so it depends on how big of a threat it is and how big of a management system they need for it. So maybe Bigfoot's not really that big priority on their list, or they, whatever, can't control the problem, don't have a solution for it, or it's not needed. So. Yeah, I asked that the other day. So, because I interviewed people and they just don't believe it. They ask all these questions. Oh, won't the government, say something, or Don't they know? And what are they doing about it? And you have all these kill teams and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
but well, we live in a very crazy place. So if average people are investigating the cryptid stuff and these paranormal aspect stuff, you have to think that, people who are, in charge of our defense and military and stuff probably have too. And I wonder what their conclusions and research is, because they're not telling us. So we're figuring it by ourselves very slowly. So,
I mean, it's for their benefit, not ours. I mean, I'm one of those believers. They keep stuff secret for the logging industry and whatever type of industry out there that benefits them.
yeah, I mean, maybe they're just too scared that it's going to cripple us in some way. Again, we can't handle it. If it's an average, or if it's an average animal type of creature, we can't handle it. Now, if it's something else or something, who knows that it's the real reason they don't want you to know. Well, what is it? Because so far, we haven't really experienced anything that dictates that it's, something super crazy that needs to be kept secret, really.
Yeah.
And we can't handle it. Grizzly bears and bears are intense, especially grizzly bears and stuff in Montana and in Alaska, Kodiaks, coastal grizzlies, brown bears. I mean, those things are monsters, and Sasquatch get that big too. But again,
I think it's the intelligence level. I think they know they're intelligent.
So it's all pretty rare. It's it's the same aspect. It's what is it? What else is what is it that they're hiding? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and the Canadian government too. I mean, it's this is a North American phenomenon and worldwide, but it's the same thing. It's so I guess it's up to us to dive in and find the answers, and that's what we're gonna do. And we got our first winter camp out expedition that we're gonna be doing, and followed by every single month now we got stuff planned. Gonna be trying new places and stuff, and going back and doing some interesting stuff. So far, there's no snow in Michigan, so it might hold up. We might not have some snow on the ground when we go.
Oh, there's definitely gonna be snow up there.
I'm hoping for snow for tracks and stuff for evidence.
No, I am too. Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. I looked at the area; it's like single digits. Like it's kind of cold leading up to it,
right.
But that weekend we're going is there's dips, and then right after we leave, it goes back up, and I'm like, man.
Hopefully it changes.
Rain's gonna come, because if it's not gonna rain, it's not gonna snow. It's just gonna be cold, but it's a different environment though too. So it might. Again, it's it's a toss up.
I think there's snow already up there, but I mean I don't really want it to rain or snow. I'd rather just be cold. Makes things a little bit easier on us.
Yeah. Well, as we get into February, January and February, it's going to be definitely snow, and we're gonna have to get out there and stuff and look for tracks, of course, and finding some really good tracks to be able to say this is an actual Bigfoot and this is actual viable proof that we can capture and study and photograph and measure and call some people who might know what to do and how to do some certain things, and we can eliminate certain aspects too, because just depending on where it's at in Michigan, of course, because if you have Lower Michigan, you have certain animals and environments, but as you go up north, you have wilder animals, including you start getting elk and moose and wolves, and definitely more bear, lynx, bobcats.
No, that'd be definitely amazing. We got some tracks. I don't know what I do, honestly.
Documentation. That's what we would definitely be.
Well, for sure, but the excitement that would run through me. It's just...
And then, yeah, I'd be the same thing. potentially follow them, and I mean, try to prove that it's actually a Sasquatch, and not another animal just hop into the snow like a deer or wolf or bunnies or any other animal that has to traverse through the snow that might look like a Sasquatch trackway. So getting some really good tracks like that would be amazing, and any other evidence, of course, audio, video, DNA in the tracks, again, we might yield DNA. So because the ice and stuff might chip off and flake off skin cells and hair, of course, and have eDNA and potentially hair source. So depending on the snow and how frozen it is, of course, so it really just depends. So
Anything's possible.
yeah, but it's gonna be cold, boys. So better dress for it, better dress warm, get some nice gloves, hats, coats, overalls.
Oh,
Warm. Just
yeah.
warm. We'll be set up good, and
I mean, I'd rather sleep in the cold than it being like 9-degree weather.
yeah,
in my
I
opinion.
love cold. Yeah. Florida, Florida's hot. Florida's hot at night. It's cold at night too when you get used to it. But jumping from Michigan over there, I'd rather freeze and be cold and feel better. So it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna try to get the best evidence that we can, hopefully, and have some interaction if possible, encounters, because that's what we're really going to be about. What we are about is we're not trying to get just evidence of fleeting glimpses. We're actually going to try to get interaction with these things. We're going to bypass all this fleeting glimpses and stuff like that. We want to get interaction, because interaction is going to prove Sasquatch more viably than trying to get just a little clip of it or a little film. And if you have interaction that you can be repeatable, then you have stuff that you can probably show people. It can be a higher level quality of information than one-off evidence, one-off sightings, one-off tracks, stuff like that. So interaction is
That's the
next
hope.
step.
I will say though, I mean, it's I want us to get something, but the FLIR, it's gonna, since everything's gonna be pretty much frozen, it's either gonna work in our favor or not work in our favor. I mean, if something comes, if there's a heat source in the distance, it'll pick it up. But I mean, it's pretty thick, where we're going, and if everything's cold, and it's gonna be easy for whatever's out there to kind of stay hidden if it really wants to. So I'm hoping, that won't affect anything, but it's still going to be glued to my hand. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's another thing, is testing out the thermal stuff and how they interact with it, because theoretically they should not be able to tell that they're going to be on thermal. There's no beam of light. There's no way they can tell how close the thermal is going to work before they show up on it. So if they were as close as they were in the UP, we have some pretty good, interesting evidence. But again, from what was witnessed when someone was watching it on thermal that did not record, it acted like, very stealthily moved back behind the tree, and it engaged it in such a way that the thermal really didn't work. It wouldn't have been a viable evidence to show, other than a fleeting glimpse of something that anyone could say, oh, it was something, an animal, something. Not going off and I was like, holy crap, there's a Bigfoot, but and get backed away in such a way that the most minimal detection that it was given, because it act basically they act like super stealth ninjas and army rangers, and they back out of certain situations and can get very close. The video with me and Jason's encounter proves that, really, especially when the thing across the trail. It's amazingly how silent they are. Even when the forest, when we are walking out there, we're making a crap load of noise. It's intense. It's an eye opener. So we're gonna test that in the snow too, because if there's snow, they should be able to hear them a little bit better if it's not as powdery and actually frozen up a bit.
I was going to say, realistically, we should hear anything probably within 25 yards around camp coming.
You would think, but in summer and stuff when we were there, we didn't hear them within 25 yards. We didn't hear them.
No.
They were around us, walking around us within 25 yards of us, and they're standing, about 10 yards away. No more than that. And closer. One was 20, 30 feet from me. Or who knows how close it is? In the video, it's pretty close. And yet we didn't hear him walking around us. We didn't hear him following us. We didn't hear him too close. But yeah, it's gonna be a good year. Definitely a good year for Lost Cryptids Conservatory research here in Michigan, and Michigan is definitely a hotspot for Bigfoot activity. So I think there's gonna be a lot of evidence coming from Michigan, probably. And we're hopefully going to bring more of it. Yeah, very confident. Very confident in the next year. This year's been good, and very thankful for everyone and all the stuff we've done, and people we've met, and lessons we've learned, and how we've grown, and how we're going to apply ourselves to the next year. So I am very excited because, I do know, I've been doing this for 18 years now, since I was a teenager, and researching and thinking about and doing all this engaging and having activity. We are going to get some evidence of Sasquatch, no doubt, and we're going to hopefully get consistent stuff throughout the year. That can be, all the time, but you definitely should expect stuff to come from us, throughout the year, because no doubt about it, in my mind, we are going to get that and achieve it and get interaction going. I have no doubt. And that's what I want to achieve. I'm setting my mind to it, and we're going to make it happen, boys. So, you guys definitely are going to want to stick with us and see it, because we are going to prove it to you guys. So we have stuff. There's stuff on the channel already. There's stuff that these guys got on their own doing the stuff. There's their own encounters and interaction on all these places that we've been. I'm very confident that we're going to get some evidence and get some good stuff this year. So, by next Christmas, as we're opening up our presents, I think we're going to have some pretty good stuff, boys.
No, it's the goal.
No, it is, and I feel really good about it. I'm very excited, and very excited, very pumped up, and want to go out there and get it done. It says like fight attitude. When we go out there and kick some ass and go and do it.
Yeah.
Not pussyfoot around. Let's just go out there and do it. That's what needs to be done. So it can be done here in Michigan safely and stuff. We don't have to be in Florida worrying about all this poisonous snakes and all these crap. We can go out and do some stuff in environments that you can't do in other states in America. You just can't do it through the natural wildlife of snakes, poisonous animals and critters and bugs, and alligators, of course. It plays a big role in a lot of area that Sasquatch inhabit. So when we go back to Florida, that's going to be another obstacle that we're going to have to deal with. But not here in Michigan. Maybe a huge giant snapping turtle might take a chunk out of you as you're going through a swamp. That could happen.
No, I haven't. My life hasn't been threatened yet.
Actually, one of the most dangerous things that we would face as we go into swamps and stuff is
Bear.
getting sucked in. No,
Oh,
they
that,
just
yeah.
Oh.
getting sucked in, waterlogged, and James has witnessed me getting sucked into some spots that it was just like it's just a little hole in the ground, like only my leg went through.
See, and that's why I don't go through swamps like you. Yeah. I walk the outside of it, and and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, you've been joked through some swamps, and it's some rough stuff, but it's not impossible. It is kind of dangerous to do it by yourself, but and you just got to learn how to get out of it and survive it, and
Yeah.
have certain gear and stuff, usually tools and ropes, and we have usually
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, if it's the three of us, I'm normally fine doing it. But, on the times when I go up, maybe with my buddies and I go wander off and do my own thing, like if I see a swamp, I usually don't go in alone because, I mean, that stuff happens. That stuff happens, man. People get sucked in or they get stuck and, you can't get yourself out. I'd hate to go through that. It scarred me probably a little bit.
Yeah, World Bigfoot Radio, the Duke himself. We get to hear them around camp at night, but they do it on purpose and they let us know that they're there. We never hear them, of course, following us through the woods, though. Yeah, exactly. And that is the key thing is, and from our interaction and from what I've experienced and what they've experienced on some of the stuff is the Sasquatches will let you know at certain times to certain individuals, to certain groups. In fact, if you just go there and you basically are trying to say, not hiding the fact that you're searching for them, sometimes they let you know in certain subtle ways and certain undoubtable ways.
Mm-hmm.
But is that at that point that that they're around your camp, and you don't, you can go in and do and try to think of other interactions to do and get, because at that point you're interacting and stuff. They're announcing themselves. So what they did with me and Jason, they announced themselves to their presence to us as we were walking away. They made some movement. We turned around. After all the commotion was settled down, they showed themselves. You seen the silhouettes and stuff, and our encounter happened and was filmed at that point. Okay, they announced themselves, so they will do that stuff, and they will be very close as we were walking away. So yeah, they get extremely close, and in the swamps, they're said to hide underwater and underneath just inches of water with their head sticking out to grab ambush prey. So you can be walking along and get swallowed up.
Mm.
That is, of course, Val has some stuff on that. Interesting sightings of relatability to swamps. And swamps are drainage from the earth and stuff in flooded areas. And, Michigan has karst topography system, which is underwater ways and cavern systems throughout Michigan in certain areas, and sinkholes and a whole plethora of things that fall into that type of science. And there's actually a lot of plausibility for a lot of this karst systems to be out throughout Michigan, and especially northern Michigan. The more northern you go and around these coasts, you have these caverns and underground cave systems and waterway systems, aquifers, and all sorts of things that is possible. So a lot of natives talk about this underground, this underworld, this ancient cave systems. U.S. government, is depicted as building underground bunkers and tunnel systems, and on top of prehistoric stuff and natural stuff that they found. So maybe there's some truth into that. So, but for real, what there is understanding that our state and Ohio and a bunch of other regions support natural cave systems and aquifer cave systems and stuff, water cave systems where water is coming out through the earth or going through the earth and creating caves, and certain caves that you can go into. Obviously, when the stream's coming out, you go into it, and there's other passages and swamps or certain drainage and plugs and sinks and stuff. They have their own individual plug and stuff. And so when that pops, it can drain a whole area and go out somewhere else. And all this pressure and thermodynamics. And it's very, very interesting stuff. But it's if you're in there, very different environment from the on top of the earth. And you definitely would need supreme night vision to be in there. But even then, it's pitch black. I mean, there's no light source to be able to see at all. So could Sasquatch actually thrive in a lightless environment that is deep within the earth? I don't know. It's very interesting, but
I think it's possible.
There's some interesting stuff on that, but yeah. Hi everyone in the chat. I see there's more people coming along, and we got Iron Dogger and stuff. She's
yeah, I don't know how, unless you're a different time zone.
Yeah, she's a pretty badass woman actually. She's up in Alaska, and up in that wilderness beauty that definitely has Sasquatch. I think they have everything up there.
Mm-hmm.
Monsters and stuff, they say. And even
Monsters.
Dinosaurs.
Like
Dinosaurs
woolly
are born,
mammoths.
There's an anniversary of 100-year ago sighting, basically, of a dinosaur-like creature, basically T-Rex size, up in the northwest territories of Canada, which is basically right next to Alaska. And these are huge, remote, wild, wilderness areas where very few people live. So, yes, dinosaurs and they have found bones of dinosaurs that can have survived in the more Arctic, cold regions than previously thought. So,
Just to interrupt you, we have a question from Rob asking what Tyler's expertise is.
Expertise. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in anything. I mean, I just go off of what I know. I mean, to say you're an expert in the Bigfoot world, in my opinion, it's just a bit.
You just want to know what you're good at, basically.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got it.
He's being honest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to be an expert, I think, I need to have degrees and stuff, and I got to have proof. And it's like we do stuff all the time, and I have stuff that I think is credible. I think Blake has stuff that's credible, James, and it's just I don't know. It's just I think I'm pretty good with audio stuff, I guess. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I'm good with the audio stuff. I get pretty crafty when I'm out in the woods, but I mean, other than that, I'm just, I tell people I'm just an average guy. I love being outside, and when I go up north or when I go camping anywhere, I poke around, look for something I believe's there that no one else does. So,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're just pretty much average people. There's really not too much special stuff about us other than we go look for Bigfoot at night, and most people don't. So,
yeah.
We actually apply ourselves, and we try, and we all got stuff. It's very interesting that if it's a needle in a haystack here in Michigan, we're finding the needle pretty regularly. So there must be high population here, or we're good at it, I guess. Right?
I mean, he is a good tech guy.
Not to brag or anything, of course, but obviously there must be a high population. But,
I'd say, manageable population. The them reproducing up here is probably better compared to other areas in the United States. We have a lot of forests, and we have a lot of habitat. So I think their chances of survival up here are better than compared to other states. I mean, I think the Pacific Northwest has the best in my opinion, but it's because that's where all the reports really come out of when you look at the United States as a whole. But Michigan, ever since I've been here, has always surprised me. It's a great state. I love the forests up here. And I think we have more than in Michigan than what we think. We can't prove that obviously because we got nothing to go off of, but it's just my personal belief.
Right. I say that other than our personal experiences, my own personal experiences of, if we keep experiencing all this stuff, especially in different areas, it points to a few things. Obviously, there's a high population, or there may be some other thing going on, but why would you keep getting interaction or having encounters or certain things, evidence happen if they are super rare and far few between? It doesn't make sense to the data that we basically are getting and are experiencing individually and collectively. So
Yeah.
There's and if there's so much more here in Michigan, and there's so much more in the following Great Lakes region and states all around us, because why would there not be? There's an abundance of population here. They're going to spread, and they populate, and eventually be abundance of population elsewhere. So, and there's sightings all over the U.S. and Canada. So all the way down to Florida, California, New Mexico. Robert Crater's down in New Mexico, and he's again finding some interesting stuff.
Yeah, Arizona and Mexico are places that probably within the last couple of years I never dismiss them, but I'm kind of like, there can't be that much there. But you look at the data and you look at the reports, and it's just it's either people are lying or there's something there.
Right. And Arizona's a very unique state too. And they do fully have unique regions and stuff that's not desert that can support Sasquatch activity. But in the desert, especially during summer, historically and even modern times, people do not go out there into these wilderness areas. Only the hardcore people and enthusiasts and avid hikers and backpackers and outdoors people. But summer and in the desert regions of Arizona is where some of this lost treasures and gold and stuff is supposed. There's Sasquatch sightings, and there's Sasquatch reported in those regions. And if you have a whole summer season where humans just don't go out there and stuff, they don't go out there to survive, a lot of people would scoff at the idea that Sasquatch would be out there surviving off the land. But that's what they do, is they survive off the land and the environment. So they're already acclimated and accumulated and evolved for that region, especially if they've been there, and are not from a different region. So the idea that, just because humans don't go out there and can't survive out there, that a Bigfoot can't. But in fact, gives them more of an area that's less pressured by humans, that they can thrive and do. And there's a lot of cave systems, and there's very interesting normal natural ways that animals survive during the day and of course at nighttime in those regions at different seasons. So this idea that there's no Sasquatch in this area is when there's regular animals that can survive and find life and drink and survive this ecosystems, a Sasquatch can.
And I think they migrate too. I don't think in those areas they stay there all year round. I think they migrate, but some people don't think they go too far. I don't think they go too far myself. I think, if you have a state where they're everywhere, then that's just multiple groups. But I definitely think if the food gets scarce, they migrate and they come back. And over time, I think their intelligence allows them to remember, well, this area, this time of the year has an abundance of food compared to this area, this time of the year. Animals do that, birds will fly south, north. Animals do that naturally, so why can't they?
How are you not tired?
Yeah, exactly. Who are you talking to?
Both of you.
Dude, I took a nap at like 12 o'clock and I didn't wake
I
up
should have
till
done
3.
that.
I took a fat nap. So, I mean, when you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I bet you guys are live. And I was like, well, I'm either going to sit here in bed and watch YouTube or come on here and talk. So I chose to talk.
Maybe it was the right choice then.
Yeah.
I know when I go to sleep, I'm gonna be passing out for a while because I've been up minimal sleep for the last 2 days. But awesome, very fun, and of course lovable Christmas, and spend with the family and stuff with the kids, and that's always the best. So couldn't have asked for more, but and doing a show on top of it. So it's kind of the icing on the cake because it's fun to do this. It's fun to talk and have people in the chat, of course, and talk Sasquatch. And
yeah, we have some comments that I'd like to skip.
Yeah, go ahead. I've been reading, and of course,
Okay.
Merry Christmas to everyone. And
Robert said that he wanted to comment on what Blake said earlier about how close to civilization Sasquatch live. Like they may be very infrequently coming to populated subdivisions. Like in the Detroit area, there's like an arc in the Lake St. Clair area near Selfridge.
I'll tell you what, I've been around Selfridge.
Pontiac,
Yeah, I have too.
My dad's boat's not too far away. If they're in Selfridge, man, you tell me, because I will walk the whole area. That would blow my mind if they were near Selfridge. I could believe Pontiac, Novi.
Yeah, I could believe Pontiac.
I mean, Lake St. Clair is so big. I mean, it stretches into New Baltimore, and
yeah, Novi and Canton, I believe.
Yeah.
But over like southeast to Grosse Island, Detroit, I'm pretty sure no. I don't know. It's just very populated over there.
Well, I would. What I think it is at nighttime. They go into areas easily and more, and maybe they might get caught. And there's stories, and they're definitely on the Canadian side of Lake St. Clair. There's there's a bunch of sightings all the way from there to, all the way up north of Toronto. So, you have a whole sighting going on all the way out there on the other side. And in some of those areas, there's definitely Sasquatches reported. And then all the way through the thumb and all over. They're reported in every county. And they are reported, there's been sightings in Detroit, surrounding Detroit, and then around those areas. And there, again, and that would be a direct data point to show that, they're in very proximity to people, in people's backyards. They're in little chunks of forested land surrounded by farms that are very next to the city. You just have to get about a mile or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 outside of these regions, and you could be in the ecosystem of Sasquatch, and you can have them bedding down in areas that are not pressured by people as much or every single day as others. So.
Yeah. I struggle with the concept of them being in suburban areas. It's just, I don't know. I don't disbelieve it. I just struggle with it.
I'm not saying they're going in the city and stuff, but if there's country right there where there's access to more country and then woods, and obviously they can get all the way up to at least that point, and it's butted up to development. So
I get that.
They can get into a lot of those regions. It just depends on how far they get pushed. And some researchers here in Michigan have claimed that they're evidence of them being in places that people would laugh at.
Yeah, and it's just like me and James got a report. Someone was saying that there's one somewhere near Baltimore that they had like we were sent pictures, and and I want to follow up with the guy. I'm like, I want to see where he lives, and what he has to say and where he got the stuff, because he had a picture of a footprint and he had a picture of a face, and I just and I was James is the only one that apparently can talk to him. But I mean, like,
that's what I was laughing about the whole time. Sorry.
And
It's hilarious.
it's like I want to see what the guy has to say and where he is, because I mean, because if he lives in the particular area in Baltimore, I think he does. I mean, that's 15 minutes from my house, and if something happens, I'm 15 minutes away, and I'll be damned if that's the best evidence I'll ever get is 15 minutes away from my house, New Baltimore, then I'm gonna jump on that, and that would blow my mind, and I would stop doubting, suburban areas. And when I say suburban areas, I mean, I guess my definition is more broad. I think highly populated areas that I would think wouldn't house a large creature like them. But I mean, you can prove me wrong. You can prove me wrong. So
well, it's how much resources do they need on any given day, and how many days can they spend in an area before they have to go back out? I mean, in some of these areas, that we've researched, and places I've gone to, they're it's like they're camping in people's backyards and their backwoods and stuff for a day or two, and they're moving on and stuff in some circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Being very close to people, and then again, people watching and stuff. And there's reports of the window peeking and stuff. So how many times are they doing that without getting caught? Or reports being cited, actually made. So they're always watching people and learning habits of, what does this family do on this property? How far do they go? Majority of people go out in the woods during hunting season, and I've met people and through work, and the only time they really go in their backwoods is for hunting season, and throughout the rest of the year, maybe once or twice. Other than that, they don't go out there. I mean, that is a lot of days that chunk of woods is not being used.
Yeah.
So, and that's just from my own experience and theories and stuff. Because seems and maybe we can prove it and stuff through more urban reports and encounters and interactions. So,
yeah, what did I send you? Oh, that video I sent you is the guy that we're talking about. That's his documentary he's working on, and he also wants to come on the show and talk about Dogman.
Yeah.
With his buddy, he said, if you want to arrange that, I don't know.
We can arrange that. Yeah, Saturdays.
Probably not next week.
Yeah, sure.
Probably not next week. I'll be partying. I said probably not for me. I'll be partying.
Yeah, I don't know.
What day's New Year's?
We can do the following and stuff. I don't know what we'll be doing on New Year's and all that.
Well,
wait, so that video that video is the guy?
Yeah, that's his documentary. Yeah, that
the guy that we're supposed to follow up on.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know he was
maybe
into
it's
it.
Actually real.
Again, and that's the thing. That's why I want context, because I thought he was just some random guy that had a sighting, and if he's into this stuff too, then maybe that validates it. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, if he, I just want to see the area he has his stuff out of. Like I don't I have no idea if those pictures he took were like on his property that he's seeing this, or he took it up north. I just, that's what I want to know. I want to know details.
And investigate the area, and any evidence that you would have, or and vet the person. It's, of course, too, and see if he's bullshitting you or not. Yeah. And because that's it's a real thing. There's con artists out there. There's people who just want to tell you a story, have a good time.
Yeah.
So, and I think as this gets more popular and stuff, it's probably, it has always happened, and it's going to continue to happen. Maybe even more as it gets popular, but. You can vet people and get a feel for if it's make believe or not. So, unfortunately, it's just something we have to deal with, which
and he's showing
evidence.
He has a picture, like he got a footprint in like a dry, I think it was like a dry field or something, and if he's into this stuff, I mean, if he's talking about Dogman, I expect he'd cast it or do something with it. I'm only going off of one picture, but those are the type of things I just want to see. I mean, if he didn't cast it, I might, because the picture I see is pretty nice, but it's just a picture. But like if he didn't cast, I might bust his balls a little bit because I'm like, why not? But I just want to know the area. I want to know where he. I want to know where he got in the context.
There certainly is Dogman sighted and reported here in Michigan.
Well, if it's Dogman, I ain't going after that. I mean, if he's telling me it's a Dogman, I mean, I'm just gonna straight up just.
Well, that. I think that's a lot more rare than Bigfoot here in Michigan. There's just not many sightings, and I've experienced, something that can be called Dogman, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's here. There's just no doubt about it. Since my girlfriend experienced it too, she can tell you. It got up and it ran like a person. After it was a wolf on all fours across in front of us. It got up and ran like a person through the field. Okay, so there's something here and it's something real, and it was in a place where I never thought a Dogman would be. Of course, do I think Bigfoot are in place? Heck yeah, I do. But to see a Dogman and stuff, it just again, it kind of blew my mind and evolved me to accept the reality of there's a lot more going on. And is it relatable? It just asks more questions. It opens the box of so many more questions that you just don't have the answer to, and you can only think and speculate. But the fact of reality that there is a real viable creature, a wolf, that gets up and runs like a person, can walk like a person, operate its locomotion like a person, aka Dogman. It's another cryptid that's here, and something that when we're out there investigating for Bigfoot or these other cryptids, because when we're out there, whatever kind of interaction we get is what we're going to try to get evidence of. If it's going to be a Dogman that we see, experience, well, we're going to try to safely do it, of course, because we were trying to get any kind of thing. We could get a natural animal doing some unknown thing, or call or audio or stuff. It'd be very interesting and scientific too.
Mm-hmm.
Does that have to be Bigfoot or cryptid? But to get it, that's what we're trying to do. Even maybe little people. If we go out in these woods, we go out these swamps, we go out to this place, and we experience whatever, and we film it, UFO, orbs, little people, I don't care what it is. That's what evidence we're going to have to show you guys, and say, well, here it is. I mean, we tell our stories, tell our encounter, and so.
I'm gonna just stick to Bigfoot. I mean, if I happen to run into something else, I mean, that's just how life works, I guess. But
yeah, and that's in the moment. That's what we'll be focused on, get evidence of, because it is some abnormal lost cryptid event, and so things we've out there. I mean, James studies the paranormal ghost aspect a little bit more, and there's a whole host of things going on. So when we're in the woods and environment, there's potential that we could encounter things non-Bigfoot related that we again would approach and try to scientifically document and show and get evidence for, showcasing towards other people, the community, and because we're spreading awareness too. There's people who are less let's say I've not been doing this as long as us and not as prepared, and who go out there in these dangerous environments, and they experience stuff that they're maybe not ready for. They're not prepared. They don't have any understanding, awareness, any prep. And by, us going out there and other people going out there, more experienced and actually been in these woods and around these things a little bit more, can do it in a more safe way instead of a newbie going out there and making some mistakes and getting hurt. Or, I even think about, not telling locations, because what if there's some kids out there that love Bigfoot and say, hey, let's go camping out on the spot, and something bad could happen, or there's missing people and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want people to go in environments that they normally are not ready for, looking for a superhuman creature that is, said to be able to inhabit and survive in the most rugged environments known to man and beyond. You're putting people into some pretty bad situations if they're not prepared for it, prepped for it, used to it, or have never experienced that reality ever in their life. And now they're going to embark in some grand adventure out in the middle of the woods and get lost. And they're not ready for it. So, that's why we have to prepare ourselves and train for the environment, because you can get lost, have a survival situation happen. I mean, you don't have to be up in Alaska and Canada for it to happen. There's people who go missing in Michigan. You can certainly get lost here in Michigan in certain spots. I have yet to be really lost, but I guess it can happen to people. Again, who are not prepared, who are not really experienced enough, who are not really, they don't have the knowledge to, not get lost. They don't know how to, look at the stars and follow the stars out and stuff. Some basic stuff that people have access to, the internet, but they don't learn and don't do. And so, among other reasons, we don't tell people where exactly these spots are at as of yet, because of, there's people who want to go out there and get evidence of Bigfoot, and that's all they think about. They, don't even take a water bottle out there with them. So,
yeah, I'm all for people doing it. I mean, I wouldn't tell someone not to do it. But no, you're right though. I mean, if you're just someone who wants to go out there, you need to know what you're doing, and not even in Bigfoot terms. Like, you need to know. I'd recommend you know how to use a firearm. I'd recommend how to camp, start fires. I mean, it's just, I don't go out there and just get out of my car and go, well, let's do this. I'm going to go just throw a recorder here and do nothing. I mean, I don't know how you guys rock when you camp, but when I do research, I mean, I probably say 60% of the trip is camping. The 40% is Bigfoot, because you're out there and you got to have your crap situated and your food situated, and it's a lot more than just going out there. There's a lot more work to be done. I prep. I mean, I map areas. I research areas, and hell, I mean, if I really don't know the area well enough, I go there, spend 2 hours or more walking around, and then I actually camp out there. I just don't plot something on a map and go, I'm going to go stick it out there. That's what I encourage people to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're exactly right. There's so much, a whole other realm of survival techniques, preparation techniques, primitive hunting, survival, camping and stuff, and usage, and mountaineering type of camping, and certain information and knowledge that would definitely greatly help a Bigfoot researcher and anyone else who wants to experience the wilderness, because there's a lot of people go missing, and you can hear tales of people who just go out there with one water bottle, and they go out into some pretty epic wildernesses, and they stay on this trail that is their lifeline. But if they get off that trail and they don't find it, they have no clue what they're doing, and it's just so dangerous. And it's very nice that we're all like the woods, enjoy the woods, and try to experience and have an understanding of it, because I think it's going to help our Bigfoot research in the end, on top of other things. And
you gotta understand the woods.
We're going to have deer camp and stuff, so that's going to be fun.
You gotta understand that stuff. I mean, otherwise you're at the mercy of nature. I mean, nature does not care about your life. It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And then if we're in some pretty extreme environments, trying to look for Sasquatch, and we're trying to survive the elements and Mother Nature itself. So. And that's what we're about, because we're going to go to the extremes to get evidence and go into places where people just don't go, and where certainly the Sasquatches don't expect people to come and go and do. And so far, it's had some pretty good results. Yeah. Luckily, they've been all nice, and not angry too much at us.
Y'all want to talk about Dogman?
Yeah, Dogman.
Uh,
It's out there. I
Or
mean,
Tyler
I don't-
doesn't want to.
I mean, I don't got much to say about
it's
it.
out there. I
I
mean,
could
I
care
mean,
less about it.
If we're gonna be talking to that one guy, it seems he's all about Dogman. So might as
well,
well.
again, you have a Dogman sighting over there, where again a Sasquatch, people would laugh at. I mean,
I don't judge people who believe in it. I have no room to judge. I mean, if I believe in Bigfoot, then I can't judge someone for believing in a ghost, or the people in West Virginia who claim to see a Mothman. I mean, it's just I ain't gonna. I just don't like the stories I hear, and I just don't like the encounters I hear, and
Oh yeah.
I rather just, like, if I ran it, like, I mean, give me a Bible, I'll put my hand on it. If when we go camping, if we encounter one, I'm leaving. It's just plain simple. I'm out.
Where you going?
Where am I going? Home. I'm done. I mean, I'm not like done, but it's just like, okay,
end of
well,
the
now
trip.
yeah, and just we'll come back when it's not around. I don't like looking for stuff that is claimed numerous times to be bulletproof. You hear people who shoot Bigfoots, you hear people who've claimed to kill Bigfoots, you hear people who've wounded them. But when you hear the Dogman stories, a lot of times you hear them go, well, it either deflects off their fur, or it goes through them, or blah blah blah. And it's just like, I don't want to look for something like that. I always have a gun on me, and heaven forbid this thing comes at me, because they are more aggressive. If I can't put some lead through it, then I just don't feel comfortable, and I don't want to point a gun at a Bigfoot. I will not shoot anything unless it is
Right, of course.
of charging me or hurting somebody. But I mean, it's just the reports of these things they're a bit more
Aggressive.
hostile. Yeah, aggressive. I mean, and that's just how the way I look at things. Anybody who wants to go after it, hey, that's all you. That's all you. You go for it. You're doing the world a favor.
I just don't know much about Dogman, so that's why I was asking.
I think it's more a possibility that when we're Sasquatching, that it could just randomly happen and be in the area and happen. But what I've seen, if it's spending a lot of time on all fours, when people see it, they're not thinking Dogman, they're thinking a coyote or a wolf. And it's just a natural sighting. The thing, when it crossed in front of the car, it looked like a beautiful, natural, huge, massive wolf. And the colors looked, brownish and white and stuff. And it wasn't nothing abnormal. Its body didn't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the biggest, baddest muscles ever. It wasn't disproportionate. It didn't look like a werewolf. It looked like a natural wolf. And when it got up and ran, its locomotion, it ran like a human. But again, it wasn't, all of a sudden it's, gained all this muscle. And so if it's seen on all fours, a lot of people are not thinking Dogman. And, how many, we've had so many coyotes, and we've had wolf howls, and wolves come very close to us. Who's to say that it's not one of these, what it is, a evolved wolf life form, or you don't really know if you're going to have something close to you, and it's not like it's going to show itself to you, really. Dogs, coyotes, and wolves, they sneak and they spot you first. The coyotes, when those packs go off and they're by us, we call them in, and they go silent. You have certain individuals that go right up to us, very close to us, to investigate us and sniff us and smell us if they're downwind. And we've heard barks at them. They bark at us. Arr, arr. And then boom, they're gone. And they go back to the pack, and then they go hunting somewhere else. Wolves will do the same thing. They'll go right up to spot you, sniff you, and you won't ever know they're there. But they're not hunting you, but they're engaged in certain tactics that is used. And again, who's to say that people haven't been very in the crosshairs of a Dogman? But again, they think it's a regular, normal animal. So
Do you think,
there's
like,
I don't. There's not so many attacks. I don't think, or they're really kept hidden. So,
do
what
you
are you
think
gonna say?
like Dogman has like unique abilities like Sasquatch, like in terms of infrasound, or I don't know. That was a question.
Do you think Dogman has stuff like that? Was that it?
Yeah, do you think Dogman
Oh,
has
yeah.
unique abilities like Sasquatch?
Well, who knows? Maybe superhuman or supernatural natural abilities. Well, like I said, here's one. You have a wolf running like a human in human locomotion, where wolf anatomy, dog anatomy, canine anatomy is not built to do that. So, yeah, you have some unique supernatural ability going on there for it to be able to do that as fluently and as fast as it did. So, I mean, if it's doing that, I mean, what is it? A more evolved wolf life form? I mean, So, yeah, there already is evidence of it from what people report and from what I've seen personally. So, who's to say, Intelligence and strategy and planning and stuff and reflexes, superhuman reflexes. What I seen, he was pretty, intimidating wolf, a good, 150 plus pound animal easily. I mean, well, I was right next to a massive today. He's 35 pounds. And the wolf that I seen was definitely bigger and longer than him. So definitely his weight as much. And it was more muscular and in shape and in the wild, so probably more. So you're talking about a thing that, yeah, a normal wolf that size could, and I'm sure Iron Dogger could tell you, up in Alaska, is timber wolves and Arctic wolves. We have, gray wolves around here. They can kill you. They get big. They can get up to 200 pounds. And they are very big. So something like that standing up and stuff, I mean, who knows? And who knows how their paws operated at that point? Because it's, again, are they paws? Are they more elongated fingers and stuff? I didn't be able. I couldn't see it enough. When it crossed in front of me, it looked normal. So when you're dealing with that, yeah, you could have another apex predator. Who knows? It looked pretty natural to me, though. I wouldn't say anything unnatural. So the Earth is very unique and could have a lot of unique natural cryptids, occurrences, and things happening. So,
Well, I got another topic we can dive into.
yeah. Go ahead.
Do you know anything about Thunderbirds?
Well, of course.
I
did a video on it and stuff, of course. And
Oh, you did?
yeah, a little video of. Well, I'm going to be doing a little video. I mean, we've talked about it on here before with pictures and stuff I've shown, but I don't have any to pull up. But again, there could be. There's definitely Native American stories of these things, and different cultures and different languages and different regions of North America, all the way up from Iron Dogger up in Alaska to Michigan and all the way in between, of these giant thunderbirds. What they are, who knows? But some are described as more dinosaur-like. Some of them are described definitely more eagle-like. Some of them are described having supernatural powers and flying in storms and fighting lake monsters and sea serpents and even devouring Sasquatches. So they show them on the totem poles in the West Coast. You see the great totem poles and stuff, and Sasquatches in those totem poles. They have the great thunderbirds on top, the wings spread out. Losing my voice a little bit, talking.
Oh, jeez.
Talking all day with family and stuff and doing the show.
About Bigfoot, yeah.
yeah, no, it was a real thing to them, and so we have some pretty good classification of animals and dinosaurs and um, flying dinosaurs and reptiles and of real evolution that they find with bones and stuff. So who knows if it's remnants of leftover stuff and or eagles or who knows.
Mm.
Are they surviving today? I mean, there's some sightings reported, but definitely not
Who
plentiful.
knows?
Be
Yeah.
very rare occurrence. But up in Alaska and up in there, anything's possible up there. I mean, that's just untamed wilderness, and
Very.
you could walk a lifetime out there and never see a person, and who knows what's really out there in the earth. And I mean, there's glaciers and there's ice and there's crevasses and there's whole deep hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet, sometimes miles of deep inner earth ice cave systems, and again karst systems and natural cave systems and waterways and stuff that goes into the earth. A lot of water, a lot of power, and a lot of environments that scientists again have not explored. Very, very new science. A lot of stuff we don't understand because humans don't go into these cave systems, because it's what we found through cave systems throughout the world is they're finding evidence of life forms in caves with no light that have evolved. And so there's possibilities for a lot of things to have evolved in the inner earth because the environment is basically the same for millions of years. It's just, cave systems collapse, others are formed, but you can have a lot of who knows what's down there. Dinosaur relics of stuff and the tremors and stuff. Your World Bigfoot Radio says he might have seen a thunderbird riding thermals here in the Bitterroot Valley last spring. Of course, riding the thermodynamics of the weather pressures and the fronts moving in and making it easier for their locomotion. Yeah, I mean, I certainly believe it. You've seen it. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and see one and film it. Get some evidence of it, because if we do, we're going to show you guys. Whatever's out there. It's sometimes it's good luck to see one too. Actually, in the native stories, it can bring good luck. It's a good luck symbol. A lot of meaning to these things, like the Algonquin tribes, the region where we're at for Native American history and culture, and our tribes around here in our region. We call them Sabe, and in northern Canada, the Algonquin language group and tribe persist, and it means honesty. And it's a teaching of honesty, and Sasquatch or Sabe is depicted as its meaning, and you have other ones as courage and all sorts of stuff. Eagle and bear represent, and so some cultures, seeing a Bigfoot and stuff is lucky. So seeing thunderbirds, of course, are definitely up there on that viewpoint from Native Americans. So it's a rare thing. But yeah, there's a lot of cryptids here in Michigan, far beyond, and all the way up to Alaska and Montana, where Duke's at. And Montana's a huge, wide state, and it's pretty rugged too. So a lot of stuff out there, a lot of Bigfoot, a lot of other stuff.
Interesting.
And of course, Duke is saying Sasquatch represents truth on the totem pole. Again, would be a totally different culture of Native Americans that are totally separated by thousands of miles, and in between several dozens and dozens of different tribes that spoke different languages and stuff that were experiencing Sasquatch and their representation of truth, truth and honesty and stuff. It's kind of almost relatable and interesting. But you have other cultures right next to those who think that they're cannibal giants and evil spirits that will eat you too. So again, a lot of these cultures, you can't point to any Native American group and say, they thought this and this is what Sasquatches all are, because their next door neighbors will tell you that no, these are evil cannibal giants, or these are a total different definition and mood and mindset, and just like the little people and stuff. And up in Onondaga's region of Alaska, I don't know exactly where she's at, but the Tanana tribe is a huge Native American tribe, pretty much in the middle. And their stories of little people is, again, both good and bad. Tricksters, the key point that comes up, and but their neighbors and stuff would say, little people can be bad and evil and eat you. So, I guess it depends on the relationship that the Native Americans had with those individual Sasquatches and little people and other cryptids, because some of them had a lot more friendly relationship or interaction going on than some other Native Americans. Yeah. Sasquatch is more Western style. I mean, again, it's a English and stuff derivative of a Native American word. And you're talking about hundreds of different tribes that have their own unique words that they called Sasquatch, just like little people in that video I did. I mean, each Algonquin tribe, even though they come from the same basic language group, they are very individualistic, and they have their own cultures and their own beliefs and their own languages that are totally different, even though they're very similar and stuff. And even you can have two tribes that have almost the same words, the same spellings and stuff, and very, very similar pronunciations. Their words are actually spelled different and they're pronounced different. And it is distinctively enough that they are different, but they all come from the same language group. So they have, all those tribes have individual names for Sasquatch and pronunciations too. So for, we call them Sabe. That's a more traditional Algonquin and accepted, because a lot of different tribes here, our region and up in even Canada, have a word or saying that's very similar. So
I had to go wake up. Sorry.
dude, I'm passed out. I've been running the thing up like 4 hours.
Splash some water in my face. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You should probably go get some water if your voice is hurting.
Yeah. Well, we're going on 2 hours of streaming. I don't know how long you guys want to go.
I can go another
it's
half
my
hour
bed-
probably.
It's about my bedtime.
If there's any questions in the chat, what you guys want to ask us as Tyler, as the caller kid, feel free to. Bigfoot Radio's going passing on some of this native knowledge to you guys, because I think it's important. Just like Duke here at World Bigfoot Radio agrees, is it's very important knowledge that a lot of people don't know. So most of the Pac West tribes had cardinal relationship with local Sasquatches than the Chippewa and Algonquin tribes did and stuff. And again, it's individualistic tribes and stuff, because you have some that were trading with others, and there's a lot of stories of this trading that was happening and breaking down, and they had their own relationships with these things and different interactions and different outcomes. And so all of this was going on, and who knows how much actual interactions going on, because a lot of the stuff that's told by elders and stuff is only really cherry picked and told to people. I mean, and a lot of it is lost too, because a lot of Native American knowledge and stuff and tradition was destroyed and was killed and lost. So there's so much that we just don't have and know. So even the remainders and the remnants of the Native Americans here, and the elders that are elders now, there's definitely certain knowledge lost, unfortunately, but there's a lot of, I'm sure they know and keep secret.
Yep. Hey Tyler, What was your longest trip outdoors? Like, how long have you stayed out?
Oh shoot. 4 nights was the longest I've ever done. I wasn't really prepared for it, so I mean it was one. I mean, it was kind of when I was first getting. I mean, I've always camped, but it was when I first started doing it. You know, without my dad or anything, and it was 4 nights, and it's a big camping lesson for me, and that's why I'm so anal about camping stuff now. But yeah, 4 nights. I want to do 1 week at one point in my life, but we're not doing it. We're not doing it in the wintertime. I'd rather do that in the summertime. But yeah, that's the longest I've done.
Well, we're not doing it this month, the whole week. Yeah.
No.
Well, I think eventually, yeah. It depends how good this winter goes, but I think it needs to be done. You know, you should have weekly. Life sucks and stuff. It's very hard to get out there and stuff to spend as much time as what's really needed to go out there and spend. So, but we get out there as much as we can. We're going to, and yeah, maybe in the future we'll be able to pull a week off in the winter and stuff. But it's hard,
Yeah, I mean a week. I think a week would be cool if we could do that. Springtime or maybe even fall. I think the prime time to do any type of research is in the fall, between August and early October. And this year, I think I camped like 3 times in that time period. And I mean, the 2 trips weren't heavy Bigfoot, but I mean, I got out there as much as I can. There's very few times I actually camp looking for Bigfoot. I feel like if you look for it, you're not going to find it. That's why I casually just put stuff in the field or I keep my eye out. But yeah, no, I would love to do a week camp trip. I will not do in the dead of winter. That's just going to be too much for me. 2 nights. I think the 2 nights we're doing is going to be great for me.
Yeah.
Well,
longest I did was actually like a few months ago, and it was 6 days.
Yeah, I was going to say y'all were up there for a while.
Yeah, it was almost a week, just about.
Yep.
Yeah, up in the UP.
It was a long time.
Yeah, camping every day. Yeah.
Because we had the conference, and then we went up there.
Yeah, and that was a great environment and plenty of Sasquatch out there. And some of the best evidence, actually, we definitely ever got, and some really good evidence that actually, it's going to be some good stuff when Jason Kenzie drops his Searching for Sasquatch Part 3, or number 3. He's going to have Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
Part 1 is in January. Part 2 will be in February. And a lot of the hardcore evidence that was filmed on that trip with us, the Lost Cryptids expedition, will be in Part 2. And we got some stuff in the wings waiting, and we're going to be analyzing and dissecting, and you guys are going to just, it's going to have your head scratching, and so that's what we're trying to do, is replicate some of that stuff and ultimately film these encounters and interactions and get more and experience it in different places and stuff too, because if we're able to replicate it in all these different spots, it can prove a lot more data points and show a lot more statistics and datas with population and certain techniques that work and what doesn't work. Yeah, because we got a lot of spots to check out. We're pretty dedicated. I'm definitely determined to push the envelope in a safe way and get interaction and safe interaction, repeatable stuff, and show evidence and encounters fully as they happen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I got another question from Iron Dogger. Eddie left.
No, I'm coughing and stuff. I'm clearing my throat.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
about to go get a drink, actually.
Yeah, you
but
should probably do that. Thought that's where you went last time.
no, I was just talking to my baby.
Does anyone check the data on the most sightings during the
Oh yeah.
like fall
Well,
or
it's
spring?
definitely not with the BFRO. Oh, is there another database? Oh heck yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yes, his
Yeah,
name is
it's going to
Val.
be our good friend and Val Zavala, who is associated with us, of course, and he has the most data points in Michigan for sure, and probably he has a lot of North American sightings and data points. But yeah, if you go on Facebook at Gumshoe Guys Corner, Michigan Bigfoot and Reports, you will find Val, his group, and you will be have a lot of insight and information to go through and see. And it does point that the two main months in Michigan and correlation throughout North America seems to be, but especially here in Michigan, because that's where most of it's where we're from and where it studies. It shows that it is October and July. July being the highest, October being the highest, with more people in the woods hunting, and July being highest, speculated to be possible birthing month. But July is very hot activity here in Michigan, and that data points to expand all through at least the lower half of America, continental U.S., possible Canada and beyond. So, and possibly, so yeah, October and July. When our expedition was in late July, and we had definitely activity. So
Go grab a drink. Go grab a drink.
yeah.
Sounds
So
like you're dying.
without further ado, you guys. I want you guys to answer some questions, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna actually check on a few things.
What are you up to, Tyler?
Oh, I'm just doing miscellaneous stuff and listening to y'all in the background.
Oh, okay. I just hear clicks after clicks after clicks, so that's what I was wondering.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about Bigfoot stuff, so I do mapping. I do a lot of mapping and stuff to buy and just go down a huge rabbit hole.
Makes sense.
It's what I do. You know what I mean? I don't
Were
know.
you drawing?
No. That was a battery going across my desk.
Oh.
I do way more mapping than I should. I mean, my maps are ridiculous. But I mean, I never get lost. Every time I go camping with my buddies, we're never lost. I'm never lost. They get lost. I'm never lost. I always know where I'm at.
I've gotten lost before with a group of people, so I know how it is.
I mean, the city, that's a different story, but
no, not in the city, in the woods.
In the woods, I'm never lost. I'm never ever lost.
And that was like a time before phones. We only had a compass. Again, no one knew how to use a compass.
A compass is pretty valuable, actually, if you know where your directions are at. I mean, there's been times my phone just craps out, and all you know is like, well, we came from the south and whatever, and you got to do like little math in your head. But
yeah,
I keep looking at the area we're going, weather reports and stuff.
Oh yeah. They're paranoid.
I'm not paranoid. I think the only thing I'm paranoid about is the cars not being able to get in.
Well, I mean, you have 4-wheel.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a Ford Escape. It's not like a lifted truck that's supposed to go through everything.
Yeah.
I mean, she's gone through a lot of rough country through Michigan the last 3 years, but I mean,
Is she dying?
She ain't dying, but I mean, it's just there's only so much you can do with. I mean, if the snow is really high. I mean, that's one thing we have to think about is if the snows, if the these where we're going is very remote and it's not exactly an area where people are wanting plows to go through
it's
because
not
of heavy
plowed.
traffic. So I mean, it could be, but the reality of it is, there might be a point where my car or or Blake's, it can't go, and we're gonna have to get out and walk to the spa and go back and forth. I hope to God we don't. I mean, at least get like somewhat there.
That's why you bring a shovel.
Oh, the shovels! I mean, we gotta do a shovel because we're gonna dig a hole in the ground for the fire pit and dig out some snow. I know there's snow up there. I mean, it's snowing right now.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a storm, but it's so cold up there. The snow hits. It's sticking.
So we got a question from Rob. He wants to know how did you get involved with Sasquatch?
I mean, it's a very
long story.
I mean, it's not long. It's just I don't know. I kind of like fell into it. It's one of those things where you kind of just you dip your toe into it, and then you.
I guess like how'd you come across like the topic? I guess.
I mean, I've always done woodsman stuff, and my family's from West Virginia. I've lived in West Virginia, and you can't go far without hearing something about Bigfoot. All the stores around there carry Bigfoot merchandise, and I mean, probably and most people probably who really got into it recently, finding Bigfoot was kind of that doorway for people to really get into it. It wasn't my main motivation, but I mean, it was. He left. I'll continue. But I mean, I kind of just, I don't know. I mean, I just kept camping and I kept my eye out, and then I met people up here in Michigan, and it just kind of, I just started researching more. Is that good? Is that a good answer for you, James?
Oh, I'm back.
I kept.
What?
I kept explaining while you were gone, so
my internet died.
Yeah.
Not my internet, just like the tab itself just exploded, I guess.
Yeah.
We're good. I'm back.
No, I thought that was good. I was listening, actually. I sat down and, it just happens to people. And, people get into it. And, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with me. I just, one day I think my dad just brought it up in some conversation. I must have been, I don't know, 4.5, honestly.
4?
And,
Jeez.
4.5.
You remember?
5, yeah, because I remember watching TV shows and, there was one time at my grandma's where, and I remember this as a little boy, that I thought I seen, a Sasquatch go behind a tree. And, I ran and told my dad. And he would tell you if he came on the show. Being so young and stuff, who knows? But I definitely know that I continue to watch those stuff. And, Sasquatch is more out of all the UFOs and ghosts and Loch Ness and all this other stuff on these programs would show, Sasquatch kind of was always something that I was more interested in, and so I developed it. And when I first encountered it at 13, that's when I full-blown started researching it full-blown, and 18 plus years or 18 years, however long it's been now. I'm getting old. Getting old doing this stuff. And so people just get into it.
Yeah, it sucks you in, man.
Yeah.
Especially you get out there and you experience stuff. Because I mean, in the beginning for me, I was nervous, and you go out there and I don't want to promote any organizations, but I mean, like my first real thing was through the BFRO, and this isn't a sponsor, but I mean, I did it, and that really opened up the floodgates for me, because if you ever do one of those trips with them, yeah, you got to pay money. It's unfortunate, but you gain some knowledge from those guys, and they take you to an area. And I mean, from my understanding, there's always something always happens.
Yeah, how I got into it was finding Bigfoot, obviously, but like what made me take the giant step, I guess, was I was just sitting in my library at high school. I don't remember what year. It's either my senior year or junior. And I just wrote an email to Cliff asking him about the best place to go in Michigan to find Bigfoot, or if even where in Michigan has Bigfoot. And he did write back to me, but it took him a few days. I was
Busy
so
man.
happy.
Busy man.
He's a pretty good guy. We've met him a few times, and I've met him a few times. And how me and James met. Cliff was at a conference in Northern Michigan, the West Branch Michigan Conference, and me and James met. We talked to Cliff. And, we started going out.
Then I also found a Facebook group on Bigfoot, and I joined it, but now it kind of sucks. So don't go to it.
Yeah, you were doing stuff for like a year and stuff before we met up. Of course, when you emailed.
Yeah, I was just going to like public parks and looking for Bigfoot in the area. Like how that one guy was asking questions about if they could be within cities, and I found lots of evidence that points to that they could, structural wise. I didn't really get much audio evidence because I was just walking around looking for evidence. I did find a footprint though in Metamora, which was really weird.
Metamora?
Yeah, they have a state park.
Yeah, again, they get into some of these areas at nighttime for whatever reason. It's possible. I mean, there's some people who definitely believe it here in Michigan, that these metro parks and these surrounding areas. So, yeah, I think Michigan's a pretty good, unique state for Bigfoot research, actually.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not been exploited and stuff as such and stuff. There's the researchers who come before us here in Michigan. There's a few and far between. So, yeah.
Nope. Get it in while you can.
Get out.
No, no, it is, and there's other states the same way. Honestly,
It's growing.
I think there's a lot of research coming in, and hopefully good evidence. Everyone gets good evidence, and push the envelope forward.
I want people to go out there.
We got to work together in some sort, and it's not really about competition and stuff, and there's a lot of jealousy, and there's a lot of bickering and fighting, and when there's money involved and stuff, it feeds the fire, and it's just it's kind of toxic and stuff at times and stuff. So there's comments of on other shows and stuff of all this happening, and there's always controversy and fighting and hoaxing and stuff. So there's a lot of disoriented chaos in the community.
Yeah. Robert Dandoven, I think Camp Agawam is up there. I used to go there for Boy Scout campouts.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really looking for Bigfoot back then, so I don't know if he was there.
And it comes down to this. If it's in the countryside here in Michigan, if you're in the country and you're on farming fields and stuff, there is Sasquatch going through the area. Now, whether it's regularly, it's every 2 weeks, every once a month, whatever. At some point, there is a chance that Sasquatch will move through that area or close proximity or within, a mile or two, because they are traversing through some of these, especially in the country. I can testify to that through my research and being in different areas throughout my life and having activity and stuff. And as such, in some areas, it was every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, they would be in the area for a day or two, hanging out, and then boom, they would move on and be gone. And then every 2 weeks, they'd come back, and boom, they'd hang out for a couple of days, they'd be gone. And this went on for a couple of years in that spot. And when I was first starting out at 13 and stuff and finding tracks, and there wasn't really cell phones and stuff at the time that you couldn't really record, and so a lot of interesting aspects. But they are moving through the countryside, no doubt, at nighttime, all the time. And so they're getting into areas. I give you guys there's certain areas that they're definitely in, and the data shows it. And there was a question by Iron Dogger about a comment made of, have we done our own data research and categorization? And yeah, I have. Yeah, I have a big old map system mapping of Michigan that I personally have made. That is for usage of our group, and so far that I know of and of what I've seen, it's the biggest one. So they're everywhere. They're just the data points to it. All the sightings. Val has over 1,793 sightings here in Michigan that go all the way back to 1640 something. It's far back. And then Native Americans, of course, but all the way to the present. So Michigan actually is one of the top 5 oldest known settlers report French fur traders of Sasquatch. So Vermont being the first. Through telegrams, through scouting, and you're sending this back through military convoys back to France and stuff for information that was very vital, So yeah, Michigan actually has one of the oldest ones on record, and through Val, thankfully, through his data, it shows that, and we have 1,793 reports. That Val had. That is the biggest reports of sightings here in Michigan than anyone else that I know. And more than the BFRO shows by far, more than anyone else shows, and so there's a lot of reports here in Michigan, every single county, and so there's a lot going on in our state, in areas that have population, as it shows. Yeah, we'll be getting Val on and stuff after the holidays and stuff, secede and stuff. Chrissy was supposed to come on a little bit ago, but life happens, and I know the more that we marinate him in the background and stuff, the better the quality of the show actually will happen, because there's more data points that keep coming up and stuff we've talked about. And he showed me some photos of some just odd stuff, and it's very interesting of some of the things that are being sighting and happening in Michigan and around locations where we've been at and we know of. So yeah, it's very interesting. So
got any last minute questions in the chat for anybody?
Yes. Yeah, I'll probably cut it off here. Another about 15 minutes, about 2 a.m. here, East Coast time.
Oh, Tyler's falling asleep.
I'll do another 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I want to close with again. We're just gonna try our best and try to get the best evidence we can this year following, and try some new ideas, and Tyler, what is your personal goal this year for your own personal research and your insight in this as we go along this journey together?
I mean, I guess top main goal is I have a $3,000 FLIR that I want to have. Sorry, I have a $3,000 FLIR that I want something to run across while I'm using it. So I love to get FLIR footage, but I know that's not exactly easy. So I guess the next goal would be to get more audio evidence because that's what I'm into. And also I'd like to get a footprint. That's also in my top three. That's my top three: FLIR footage, audio evidence, footprint, and then I will be happy this year.
What about you, James?
Man.
That's all right.
Let me answer Robert's question first.
Yeah, go wherever. Yeah.
He asked, have I ever done any research outing in the thumb area? And I did once. I went investigated a report from one person before I joined this group, trying to figure out what city it was in or the general area.
A lot of sightings in the.
I was over by Kingston, I think. No, it was like Vassar area, and that's over where there was a. Well, that's not important. But basically, we just went to some hunting area and found a bunch of weird structures back there and trails of footprints. I think it was in winter as well. And the footprints we did find were basically frozen, so it was really cool. We didn't hear anything. We walked around for like a long time, but we just found really cool structures. So that area has potential out there in the thumb area.
There's a lot of sightings, and there's a lot of sightings out there through there. And again, one of the back and the general glances, like
one of the
people scoff at it.
One of the people I was with, his buddy had an encounter while in a tree stand, I think, and he's like saw one basically, and he booked out of there afterwards. So, yep, because that's hunting area back there. It's all state land, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the hunting, there's a lot of hunting that happens in the thumb area too. A lot of big bucks and stuff they get pulled out of there. So it's a very valuable habitat. And you have the farm and the crops that provide ample food and cover. 12-foot tall corn can provide a lot of cover for a Sasquatch and food. So, yeah, the thumb area is no different than other regions in lower Michigan, which is very populous, and connects to pretty big cities, of course. So.
Going back to your question, I just want some really good audio evidence, like undisputable. Like I do a call and get like a scream back, basically, like really close, like within like 100 feet, maybe, like a roar, basically, just like undisputable, audio evidence. I mean, I don't want to hear that, but I want the evidence.
Pretty big claim.
You want some better stuff than what you got now, because you got responses now, but you want some.
I want definitive,
epic and like, definitive, yeah.
Where no one can be like, oh, that's wolf, or it's a different animal.
Exactly. Yeah. And hopefully,
basically, I want the Sierra sounds for Michigan. Basically, I mean, we already have those sort of, but better ones.
Yeah, we have some pretty good ones out there. I don't know. We got some good stuff too. We got some good audio. I know James has got good audio, and Tyler has some very interesting audio, of course. And we've caught audio on a lot of expeditions too. It's very interesting. So they're very vocal here, but in very subtle ways too. Is the more audio I would like to focus on is just the kind of subtle things they do when they're around us, and then confirming it that by having the interaction, so you can in my experience, how can they be this close without us hearing them? So if we can record what it sounds like and evolve our thinking and how they approach and walk and go on all fours with their maybe padding and stuff on their feet and on their hands, and maybe it's the displacement of the body proportion to the land contact and knuckle walking and stuff, and certain techniques they use to sneak up on us. I don't know, and be that quiet. I'd like to get some audio and stuff like that, along with video evidence of interaction, which is the ultimate goal. Is interaction, boys, of them are going to show us themselves and be out in the open a little bit more.
We had a question from Iron Dogger asking when our next trip is. I don't know if you want to give a definitive answer on that or not.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. So you boys better be prepared and preparing. A little time left you got, because who knows what the weather's going to be like,
Yeah.
And
I'll eventually hear about it. If I really hate the trip, I'm going to definitely complain about it.
It would. Hey, if nothing happens, at least let's have a fun time out there and build our skills up and our experience, at least, because get prepared for when it really stuff does happen. And it's gonna be fun. We're gonna cook some nice meals out there, and bring your own food and all this, and we're gonna have some fun out there.
Hold on. Game changer, guys. Completely forgot to tell you guys this.
Uh-oh.
I have a plug that gave me some MREs.
Oh yes. How many?
He said the desserts, don't touch those. They're probably not good, but the rest of it's totally 100% fine. I think he gave me a whole case. I think there's like 12 of them.
Oh geez, really? For
Yeah,
free?
there's like, yeah, well, because he's he used to live in South Korea. That's where he was stationed. And apparently every citizen there, in case of nuclear war or attack, they get like a survival stash. And since he's back in the States, he brought it with him, and he doesn't have a use for them. And I told him I was going to go camping in Great Lake, and he laughed and said, "Good luck." And then he said, "I got some MREs for you guys if you want them." And I said, "Yeah, I'll take them, 100%."
There we go.
That's good.
Yeah, those are yummy.
Oh, they're definitely yummy.
But yeah,
Depends which one you
there
get. It depends which ones you get, because some of them can be not great.
I mean, you can't beat the simplicity of them. I mean, you open the bag and you just pour some water in, and the stuff heats up on its own. I mean, I don't know how much motivation you're going to have to cook over the fire, but if you want to take the fire route, go for it. But I'm going to be in the back using the MRE as bag food. There's 12 of them. I mean, I won't probably use all 12. I mean, I'm definitely bringing the whole case. So,
oh jeez.
Well, I can eat all of them, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's gonna be times where
we might be burning some calories where the LMREs are gonna taste pretty mighty fine after by the time we come back in. And I was thinking about it, maybe if we were there a little longer, is squirrel hunt, kill a squirrel or two, a squirrel each.
Yeah,
it's not too hard to skin it up real quick and throw it on the fire for meat. Plus, if it snowed out, kill a couple squirrels and leave it at camp or hung up and stuff.
Desperate times, but I think we're gonna be good.
Yeah, no squirrels for you guys.
I'm good.
I got MREs, and I'm gonna bring a can of Spam.
I don't know. I think a lot of people would think squirrels might be a little bit better than the MREs, honestly.
I'm pretty. I mean, I usually survive with a can of Spam. Too. I always bring a can of Spam, and I survive off of that. And I bring like a bunch of like high calorie, like granola bars, and I try to be light as possible.
Yep.
Yes, spam is 100% approved by the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. So you feel
100%.
Not by me.
not by all members though, but by some members. Yeah, I love spam. Actually, yeah, it is what it is. But definitely awesome to have in camping. So you can cook it up a lot of ways and stuff. But one of these days, it wouldn't be too hard to go out there and actually go squirrel hunting legally and all that, and bag of squirrels and cook it up. And it's not too bad, honestly, if you do it right and have some spices and herbs. It wouldn't help when you're frying it up or bacon, but
Oh yeah, I mean,
making jerky.
squirrel's not horrible. It's just if I would only do it in desperate times. Now that I know that I have 12 MREs at my disposal and a can of spam, I will most likely not be scavenging for live specimens.
Well, I personally wanted to definitely have a camp out, a solo camp out for sure, where I'm hunting and gathering what I catch and stuff. And I've squirrel hunted and I've hunted a lot of stuff and stuff, and I've killed a lot of things. And I personally believe that if you're gonna go kill something out there for to hunt, that you should use and eat it, especially not waste
100%. 100%.
Hey, yeah, it's kind of disgusting that when you waste it and stuff. And I've hunted with people and some, so I ought to do that myself because I want it done the way I want it to be done and stuff. But it would be cool to have a nice deer camp. And hey, man, it's not too hard to get to bag some squirrels and have a nice cookout. I think you guys would like it and stuff, honestly. Especially after trekking through the winter landscape all night, all day and stuff, coming back, roasting a nice squirrel and some meat. I definitely think that would be yummy.
Well, that was the idea when I went hunting the end of October. We were supposed to get grouse, me and my buddy. We didn't. So thank God I had a cooler full of food because that would have really sucked if we were
starved. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they say, another high statistic is people going hunting here in Michigan and North America shows that a lot of people see Bigfoot when they're hunting, have interactions. So
exactly
it's
why
another thing that I implement. So it's just another thing that helps or has data points too. So we kind of try to engage in that. I know you guys hunt. You guys all hunt by yourselves, and so yeah, it's very interesting. And when humans are engaged in hunting, we access more primal tactics and thoughts of our brain, how to stalk animals or sit and watch and have patience, and kind of puts us in the mindset of a Bigfoot, honestly. Because when you're out there hunting, anyone who was hunted and actually experienced that, you understand, you kind of get into this mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hunter's mindset. So you start slowing down and looking at things a little bit better. You start trying to track, especially if you've shot something. Now you got to follow the blood, get the body, harvest it. I mean, you naturally kind of gravitate and get into those sort of patterns. So I think it's good for research, good to for any human really to engage in possibly experience, because it's what our ancestors have done, and it's how we've survived, and that's how nature survives. That is the reality. So yeah, we like to hunt and stuff, and I would like to hunt with you guys, honestly. I think it'd be fun. Go rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, and deer hunting, honestly.
We can do that next year.
Safely, of course, stuff. We'll do it the right way, of course. There's the right and wrong way, but you guys aren't dumb. You guys aren't dumbasses, so it's all good.
I like to think that.
Yeah. Right. No, honestly, harvesting a deer and stuff and Sasquatching at the same time, and heck, we could have some steaks and cuts out of it on the fire. That'd be pretty good too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you try to get interaction and doing stuff. So, it's just some fun stuff that we do and builds our outdoorsmanship. And it's going to help us research Sasquatch. All right, James. So we're going to make you cut and gut deer, of course, and make you cook it up and stuff.
Jeez.
I definitely would like to go and do that for sure. I think we could have a nice camp.
We can do it next year.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want to, we set it up. And I mean, because, that could take a lot of planning too. Especially if you really want to set it up and,
area, equipment.
Yeah.
Just camp, just do some hunting, and then like I said, half time I go camping. I don't even go primarily for Bigfoot. I pick an area where there's action, but I really just camp. And if something happens, and the recorder I throw on the field, something gets captured, and I just roll. It just it's the mentality that I do. I think when you go seek it, it doesn't want to seek you.
Sometimes.
Oh, well. From my experience.
Yeah, that's the good thing about us is, we agree to disagree on some things, and, we're just trying to find the truth and experience it. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year, guys. I think it's going to be fun next year when we're here doing a Christmas special. I just wonder, I can't wait to what we're going to experience and stuff. And bring to you guys and show you guys and take you along with the ride with us. So, so thanks for everyone for watching, of course. We really appreciate it.
All the conversations in the chat.
Yeah. Great conversations in the chat, knowledgeable people, awesome people. It's been a fun show. Glad to have you on, Tyler, and stuff. I know you don't get on here as much, but, always an honor. Glad to have you on the team. As with you, James, valuable team members, of course. And you guys, know your stuff out there. And glad to have you guys on for this Christmas special. I really appreciate it. Very good show. And I hope you guys had a good Merry Christmas and everyone else did too.
I'm tired.
And we are all tired. Yes, lack of sleep. So thanks for everyone for sticking with us, though. We really appreciate anyone who's going to watch this afterwards, of course. So, stick with us and check us out and stay tuned because, more and more stuff's going to be pumped out of us and going towards you guys. And whether you like it or not, you're going to have to deal with the stuff that we show you. So, we're going to have people that like us, people that hate us, and everywhere in between. But as long as we're showing the truth, only expressing the truth of what we find out there, we'll be just fine. So.
Amen.
Have a good night, buddy.
Yeah. Well, have a good night, everyone. God bless and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays all. And my good friends here. So.